it's inevitable as we increase road space and increase traffic, noise is going to increase. The real awareness of medical science is now being aware of what noise can do to your health. We need to define noise, and that is an unpleasantly loud sound which is undesired. We need to measure noise with what Sumera is doing all over the city. And as I understand, below 70 decibels is called reasonably safe. But a car horn is in the range of 107 to 109 decibels. Anywhere else in the world, a car horn is taken as a rude gesture. I think slowly over years, the Indian public will also change to realize that no one honks unless absolutely necessary. It doesn't make you go any faster. On the other hand, what about these loud rock concerts that you know of? Most of them are in the range of 85 decibels and more in the range of 115 decibels. And a lot of rock people have been affected with hearing loss, among them Peter Townsend, Eric Clapton, Ozzy Osbourne, and even the classic Beethoven could not hear at the end of his career. He had to turn around to see the people clapping for his adulation. But when we say what is the safe limits of noise, I don't think there are really any safe limits of noise. And I think the less noise we have, the better it is. But it is taken that by the WHO that if you have exposed to more than 85 decibels for 8 hours a day, it is hazardous. This might be equivalent to what we hear from truck traffic in a road in Mumbai. There are various studies done on noise and hearing and health. And in 2001, a study on American children told us that 12.5% of children between the ages of 6 and 19 have had hearing loss because of noise exposure. With noise exposure comes a lack of intellectual development and social isolation in children. And WHO also recommends that the noise, if you're working in an environment of more than 100 decibels of noise, you need to limit your work to 4 hours at the most. Noise as little as 30 decibels, that's half of what the accepted value is, affects sleep. And 20% of European population are exposed to such sounds at night that interfere with sleep. If we're talking about 20% of Europe, I think all of Mumbai must be exposed to some noise that interferes with sleep. And as you know, lack of sleep also makes your health worse. There is a link between high blood pressure and between 60 to 70 decibels of sound. Now, that itself, with the high incidence of high blood pressure, medical science needs to consider noise as a cause for all this. Other studies also tell us that above 50 decibels, there's an increased risk of heart attacks because your stress hormones increase. With the advent of ambient noise, the brain tries to accommodate to the person trying to listen with what is called a Lombard effect, which tries to make the syllables clearer to the hearer. But worse still is the reports of WHO that says that if you are exposed to noise between 15 to 60 days of conception, not mean delivery, 15 to 60 days of conception, your child is possible to have hair lip, cleft palate, because this is a time when organs are being formed. Can you imagine the effect on the unborn child with noise? Even in the Roman era, they had no carriages at night. And that was because the paving stones would make noise and they wanted to have a good night's sleep. And if this philosophy was there in Roman times, I don't see why we don't have more legislation in today's times to sort it out. As I believe, legislation is that fireworks greater than 125 decibels at 4 meters distance from their bursting point are banned. I don't ever see this happening. It always happens all the time. And privately owned systems are not allowed to have more than 5 decibels over the ambient sound, and publicly owned systems less than 10 decibels above the ambient sound. But it's high time we consider to look at noise as a health hazard. And I'm sure in decades to come, you're going to find noise listed as a cause of disease, whether it's high blood pressure, heart disease, stress, or otherwise. All we need to do is imagine an environment without noise. How many of us run away to hills, seasides, and whatever? And we say it's brilliantly